My name is Arembo Gordo, and today I am more than humble, and I'm doing this in English for my English listeners, and also to my Latino brothers and sisters. I will try to put some subtitles on it because I think that this interview it will be a very rich in information and knowledge for all of you to have that. I have right here with me brother Jay from the S Clan, and just a little intro right here. S Clan were not just a powerful activist, okay? They create hip hop music to awaken the masses. Their music helped me, at least to me, to embrace my blackness because I am a Latino. I am what they call in here in Puerto Rico half black and half white. It inspired me to learn about my culture, my ancestors, my people. Um, all those who fought before them, okay? Like, for example, Patrice Lumumba, Marcus Garvey, Sonny Carson, Huey Newton, Malcolm X, Dr. King, Harriet Tubman, James Baldwin, the poet and the novelist, and so many others. I have the honor to interview Brother Jay of the S Clan. I'm so humbled to have you here. It's not often that you get to speak with one of your influences, like in this case, you, Brother Jay. How you doing, Brother Jay?
As I was saying, I'm just simply a young brother from Brooklyn, man, Jason Hunter. I joined the Black Watch movement as a young head, and I was writing, poetry with my brother Shaft, and we wanted to stand for something different. We loved hip hop. We wanted to be a part of something different, and we were amazed by a lot of the Black leaders, the power that they had, and that's the ideal that we shared with the founder of Black Watch, Lumumba Carson, who was Professor X. So, I just was an innocent brother trying to just, do my part, for things that I saw walking the streets of New York City. And it became something that I was able to express to the world through a group that we named X Clan.
Why the name X Clan? I get it, like from Malcolm X and Clan as a group. Well, what is the main reason to have that name, X Clan?
I think it's misinterpreted to connect it to Malcolm in that fashion. It wasn't named after Malcolm. It was named after the crossroads. We respect African ancestors, and we were very heavy into Alegba. And Alegba is the guardian of the crossroads, which was the X. So we were a clan of the crossroads. We were the travelers of the crossroads. That's what the whole Pink Caddy and all of that stuff was about, that we were travelers, of time, building from past to the future. So as Alegba's guardian of the crossroads, we gave a tribute to him and the rest of the Orisha, just to give a tribute to our ancestors, So that's where the X comes from the crossroads, not from Malcolm X, but it connects to Malcolm X as well, because that's our family, and he stood for something powerful that connects to the Nation of Islam, So, and that's our family as well. Any thought system that uplifts Blackness is part of our family, in my sense,
That is an interesting answer, because I never thought that you were like into the Yoruba religion, which is Santeria, Oshun, Elewa, Obatala, and all that. So we practice that in Puerto Rico as well. Yes. I'm very surprised. I didn't even know that it was connected in order to celebrate Elewa on that moment. Who was the first person, Brother Jay, that you actually listen rapping, that you goes like, man, this guy is, what is that? I want to do
that. I was inspired by people around my way. I'm from Flatbush, Brooklyn. And a lot of the artists out there were aggressive in their learning of hip hop. They had, total mic control and, like you say, masters of the ceremony, which, MC stands for. I got to experience that around my way, because people would bring their speakers out and their equipment out. And I learned how to be a DJ. And then I used to hear, cats around my way who would spit, you know, a little freestyle, or they might have written a song, and they weren't writing songs to try to be stars. They were just trying to be popular in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? You know, because if you're a dope MC, you get a lot of amenities as far as juice is concerned. So
Okay.
I used to watch some of the early cats. If you're talking about commercially, you know, we were always struck by the Sugar Hill Gang because they had a platform. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, their raps were simple, but my parents could dance to that. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? As well as a young head. So seeing that, you know, and then Treacherous 3, and, you know, when they came out with the early movies, the Fat Boys, you know, God bless, you know, the brothers who have passed on those crews. You know, those guys were inspiration when they were hitting the TV and getting to us. But if they were in their neighborhoods, I probably would have never seen them as a young head. So, you know, when people were seeing hip hop, I was seeing hip hop as well, and that was inspiring. But all of my true inspiration is from my neighborhood.
Flatbush, New York, Brooklyn.
Yes.
One question. Why was funk the main ingredient to the X Clan debut album? Because when I listen to this album, it's nothing but the funkiest thing going on, you know, like a lot of funk on it.
Yeah, I like funk music, man. I think funk music has been underestimated as far as how it's been awarded, because it's such a jam session type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's true black music. You know, it's a different pocket than country and, you know, and opera and all of that. You know, every genre has its frequency and pocket, but funk is just something that grabbed me. And it also crosses generations. No matter what era you play funk, people can always catch on. Some musics play out, you know what I'm saying? But funk music always has a pocket of feel good that I like. And I wanted to rhyme on things that were timeless when I was, you know, coming up, starting the X Clan. So I said, if I'm going to write a timeless rhyme, I want to be on something timeless. And PX had always described to me about George Clinton. I was too young to experience his concerts. So Parliament Funkadelic, big up to all of them. They used to have these incredible jam sessions and UFOs coming out of the sky and things of that nature. So I admired that. And then as a crate digger in New York, I would find everything that they ever made. And my mom's and my pops, God bless, he was, people bought music, people bought vinyl. So I was able to go into the cabinet and see, you know, the Mothership Connection and, you know, More Bounce Than an Ounce, you know, all these records and you know, vocabulary and of funk. And I was inspired. So I wrote a lot of music to stuff that I always liked. And as a DJ, I always saw that people were dancing to. I started writing to that music, and that's how I made that album.
This is the year 1990. Was the release of X Clan's first album, To the East Blackwards. Also right. That year, A Tribe Called Quest, People's Instinctive Travel, and The Path of Rhythm, Public Enemy, Fear of a Black Planet. On May 15, Ice Cube also drops America's Most Wanted. And also on that very day, X Clan released To the East Blackwards, okay? Did you ever think that people may not receive the message due to the diversity of new music that coming at the same time of that year?
No, I mean, really as an artist, we weren't on that. See, back then, street dates were like when movies were being released. So
like Juice and all that.
Yeah, so if it was Friday, May, whatever, and that was marking the records coming out for that quarter, you know, when people make Star Wars, they're not thinking like, you know, is the Incredible Hulk going to drop on the same day as us, and is it going to interfere with our marketing? You just got to go with your plan. But what was good about that time frame is that everybody was in a rebellious state. You know, if the songs that you were naming and the groups, You know, they had their own levels of how they were dealing with how Black people were feeling so oppressed. You know what I'm saying? If they were making them feel good or deliver a message or whatever it was, everybody had a different form of expression. That's the one thing that I did like about that era versus what's happening today, where everybody's, you know, more so commercial, trying to figure out how to get a dollar than use the platform that of emceeing for freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, proper etiquette when you're building with people. You can't curse everybody out and call out vulgar stuff and expect people just to blindlessly follow you. That, you know, that's going to end. You know, you want to make your mark. So during that time, people were trying to make their mark. You know, Cube and Chuck D and Tribe Called Quest. You know, those are my brothers forever. I went to school with them, so it was good to see my comrades continue. And they started a little earlier than us because I was in the movement. I was training and preparing, and they were able to do music more freely. You know, we didn't have a music crew. Our movement wasn't based on rap. You know, it was based on, you know, community upliftment, improvement, Negro improvement, if you will. You know, similar to what Marcus Garvey represented.
Now that you said that, do you think that these days the music industry, like, actually they plan to remove like everything that is mean like conscious rap and start making all the disposable music like trap to keep minorities entertained and erase all the positive and movements that maybe will empower minorities like us Latinos and Black people? Do you think it's like a probably the powers that be made up like that? Like, because I remember like in the 90s, man, everything was so like empowerment, like be proud of your heritage and all that. And then I don't know when, man, like everything went down the drain. Like everything, like the message like flipped, like it was different.
Right. I always say to people that I don't think that the powers that be are something that we should be focused on, because that's like believing in a mystery God. You know, like, you know, something's going to fall from the sky to assist me type of thing, or somebody's behind the desk, you know, trying to down my music. I don't think that the conscious community, as far as the MCs, did enough homework on the business that it takes to keep up in this game. You know, I think that the other genres of music, they were always funded by something. If it be drug activity on the streets that gives birth to a trap music, then that was money behind it. You know what I'm saying? If it was a pop artist, usually pop artists are funded to be a certain thing. They may be trying to make a Beyonce, you know, or may try to make an Aaliyah. So when it comes to conscious music, who do we look up to? You know, there's no artists in that genre that are successful, including my own. We weren't 5 million seller type of artists. You know, we didn't have Hammer's numbers, or, you know, any of the other artists that did pop music at that time. We didn't have those kind of sales and numbers. So we never did the business, you know. And if you look at grassroots, we don't really care about the commercial world. But when you do music, you have to start to understand what the music world is about, or the industry is about. You can't skip that business. So I don't think there's somebody behind the desk that is necessarily just hating. They just don't know how to bottle what we bring. You can't bottle freedom and sell it to people. Okay? But if you come shaking your butt, I know some people who like to see shaking butts that would like to see a soundtrack behind it. They can sell that. So we have to be clearer on what we're trying to represent. If we're saying F to the system and they're part of the system, then they're not going to want to. You know what I'm saying? You've seen that before, when people start expressing themselves and say, oh man, the industry is capitalist and so on, and then they get chopped because the company is part of the system. They do business. Now, if you know how to present what you're saying and you don't have to step on toes, it may be easier to move you around and get things accomplished. So it was nobody hating on the X Clan that stopped us from doing. It's the fact that we didn't know business. And when your business grows, all right, and you're not ready to understand what the parameters of business are, that can kill you internally. Okay? Because everybody says, well, where's mine? And where's mine? And where's mine? And everybody's not producing. And yet our movement is not supposed to be about that. We're supposed to be just break bread and everybody be fed.
Yep.
So that
like everybody eating.
Correct. You can't do that in music game because those budgets are not made to feed your team. Okay? Somebody's not giving you money from the record label to say, hey, feed the village. They giving you money to make a record and to compete with whatever they feel.
Not even for you to eat. It's just to make a record. Just make a record. Not even for you to eat.
Right. When you want to eat, you work. You go get a job. You don't go to the record company. Okay? You go to the record company. You go to the record company to say, hey, I got good music. Let's be partners. But you don't go to them and say, hey, I got a dog, I got a cat, I got 2 women, three children. Give me a check. Okay?
And you know what?
So, in the spirit world, they're not thinking that.
You know what? And that is very good that you say that, because a lot of people need to man up and need to go out and provide for their families and stop like waiting or something like you was playing on the beginning. Like, calm down and give it to you. You need to go for yours and get it.
Correct.
I'm 100% agree with that. Now that we are talking about that kind of like music and the change of things like that, a friend of mine, I told him, hey, I have the opportunity to have Brother Jay for an interview, and he said, man, I have a question for him, like a fan. And he told me to ask you, what was your vision or concept for the album Seeds of Evolution, since it sounds very different from X Clan's in terms of production?
All right. My vision for the Dark Sun Riders project was, how will we sound without sampling? Okay. All right. The first 2 albums that I did, I produced with just different, like a collage of different beats from different eras, different break beats and sounds and stuff. So we got to another deal where, I separated from X Clan to gather some producers. I wanted some break specialists. I was training, young MCs to kind of be the next levels of messengers that we represented as X Clan. We wanted to start seeing, what would a Red Man and a Method Man that had conscious lyrics, what would that sound like? Okay, what if producers, like Premiers and Ninth Wonders, what if they were making beats for just straight conscious artists? How could I find the next Mos Def? How can I find the next Brother J? How could I find next, Chuck D? So Dark Sun Riders was the beginning of that. And we had to learn how to make our own music, because with sampling, we're borrowing other people's music and we're paying percentage and splits to them. So we can't see any money. All right. If you sample today, I'm sure the rates are pretty high. You know what I'm saying? And back then, they were in a gray area because nobody expected an industry to be born off of sampling. The sweet spot of old school records back in the days, that became a phenomenon. So here we are, 94. I'm separating from what I did from X Clan to experiment and say, what if we just had a hub of dope producers and MCs? Let's start something. And what I found with that project is that it was difficult to break away from sampling, because I still sprinkled some rare samples in that piece, but not as much as I did with the X Clan albums. Okay. I wanted a new sound, and hearing Dr. Dre, the way he was taking R&B EQing and blowing it up and making and redoing breaks that we sampled on a big scale. I loved, you know what I'm saying? But I was lazy and I didn't learn how to play instruments. And I was in the East, so band playing is not as popular as it is in the West. You know, I can go, I live out here in the West now. I can go to the beach and make a band by walking the grounds and just, you got a little time, here's some money, come to my studio. You know, in New York is a little bit more difficult to do that. You know?
Yeah, and actually at that time the production styles were so different because the New York hip hop was more like a boom bap. It was all about a hardcore like drum with some piano, like distort pianos or something like that sounds hard. And in the meantime, in the West, they were like still trying to do with George Clinton, the Funkadelics and things like that. I think it's like more musical, like on the West Coast at that time. At that time, I didn't even like West Coast, but now that I'm a grown up man, I start seeing what they were trying to do, and it was almost the same vision that you had with the East Black words, rhyming on something like classic and make it timeless.
Exactly.
I didn't saw it like that.
Yeah, because you know what I found doing Dark Sun Riders is that funk is hard to play. Okay, playing that Moog organ thing and all of, you know, the vocoder and all that stuff, very difficult, brother. So I couldn't even imitate it to where I felt comfortable putting that on that Dark Sun project. So I use a lot of break beats on there, and we played some things over, but it was hard to let go of the analog because you rhyme different when you come from it. You rhyme different when somebody's cutting up a record or a break versus somebody hitting it like a band. You know, it's a mind thing, and I don't think I let go of it enough on Dark Sun to really give people what I wanted to give them. I wasn't able to do that until I did Return from Mecca, which was more after I was in California. I released that probably about 2004, maybe 2005. That album should have been what Dark Sun was.
Okay. What is the message at this time? In the 60s, it was Black nationalism. In the 80s, Black nationalism. In the 90s, Black nationalism.
Yes.
Like Professor X used to say. Now, 2021, which is the message? Is still Black nationalism, empowerment, still, Brother Jay?
Of course, brother. You know, I feel like this. Black nationalism is not separatism. All right. When people have been oppressed for a long time, there's a healing period that is needed. And then there's a time that we have to get off our ass and improve ourselves. And that's what Black nationalism should mean. It means that we should unite in one mind. You know, if we were all united, then our vote would count when we're trying to do things, if we were thinking as one. But we're so separated through trauma and through genocide that we don't trust one another and we don't trust anything. Black nationalism is supposed to be teaching how to bring that together. And then empowerment, you know, you don't want to just say Black life matters. You want to say Black power, period. There's a reason that we used to say it and hold our fist up. Black power. That way I know that you're really down with my empowerment and my betterment and not just saying, I want you to live to carry my bags. I want you to live to continue to be oppressed underneath, you know, whatever the system is requiring you to be as far as slave-minded. They want control. And when you say Black power, you're breaking that. You're breaking those boundaries. So yes, that is the message always, you know, as for my people. And anyone who associates himself with Black people should be about that. You should know that there has been a problem and it's time for not equality on that level. It's time for empowerment. We've been stepped on. You know what I'm saying? And if we're not healed, we can't come to the table of humanity properly. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that there needs to be some kind of empowerment program. And that's, my music is a soundtrack for people who are builders. That's what I dedicate my music for.
And that is a great answer that you just provide, Brother Jay, because in here, I'm gonna share this with you. Probably you might be how you call that, agree on that. But I think that the Black Power thing, you have to do something like, no, not only for my brothers and sisters, like Afro Americans. When the way I see it is like Black Power has to be everybody who has dark skin. Doesn't matter, it's dark, light skin, any shade of your blackness. You have to empower that Black Power, because even though I'm in Puerto Rico, and I speak Spanish, a lot of people in the States see me as a Puerto Rican. But here in Puerto Rico, I'm a Black man. My father is Black. You know, if you go to Colombia, you're gonna find people like with our complex, and they call it Colombians. No, they are Black too. Once we start embracing that as a one force, I think that the movement will be better, stronger, and it will be more representative. Talking about worldwide.
You know what?
One of the things that I'm saying is like, when we Black men start calling each other like Afro American instead of a Black man, then we change. We're gonna start changing something like a Black man.
I think this, brother. I think we have to get out of the definition of what our oppressor made as the word Black. All right. Black is a color, while blackness, state of a mind state. This is what I said on my record when I was a teenager. And what I meant by that is that Black is something that anybody can rub on their face and act like. But blackness is a state of being, okay? So that way I don't have to look at your skin to know that you're in a universal mind state. Blackness is universal. Okay, when we start representing the universal, that means you don't have to explain your lineage, your family. My father was Black, my grandfather was Black, my cousin was Black. When I come and greet you, I can feel the vibration of your Blackness. That is something that people who are in that skin already know. They know when someone is Black. They know when that vibration. They can tell how they talk, how they walk, how they move. This is a natural telepathic communication that Blackness has always had. There's no way to explain that. Okay, when people try to get you to explain it, we start trying to break it down. Well, it's the way that we hold our arm, or the way that we wear our hat to the whatever. No, it's not that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have it, there's no way for me to explain it. So just let it be and don't tamper with it. You understand? Some people hate what they can't digest or what they can't define. Some people hate on what that is. I want to know what it is, and they want to define it. Our Blackness is not to be defined in that fashion. It's to be used to empower not only this planet, but to also better other people. I feel when Black people are united, all the things that we have contributed already to this planet, I think if we had a united force, it wouldn't be a domination thing. That I'm better than you or better than any other ethnicity. I think it would be the glue between all the things that happen on this globe, because it already has been against our will. Okay?
Already.
Already, bro. Already. So I have total faith that if we were healed and in the right state of mind, you know, we're living backwards to all of the traditions that we grew up understanding. Our ancestors grew up understanding. We're living totally opposite of that. And it's not because of technology. It's not because of things that moved on. It's just that we've already been tampered with already. We've already been taught backwards. We don't even read books the right way. So everything that we've been taught has been altered to someone else's standard. So we have to pull out of that first, heal up, learn the right way, and then talk about unifying. Otherwise, it's just going to be a bunch of backward people in the room, bro. And that's the faith that we don't have in Black people, that we can't hold it down in certain areas because we haven't been with the wealth. We haven't been with everything that has been growing around us. We're not responsible. We used to be the inventors of things, but now we're not inventing anything. That pocket has grown smaller and smaller. Okay? So we got to get back and groove to where there are 20 inventors. We got 20 Black Teslas. We got, who's the next Frederick Douglass to create something new? You know what I'm saying? These things that we have to say. We study the ancestors to say, well, who's the next one? I'm looking for the next Martin Luther King. I'm looking for the next Malcolm X. I studied the old one, so I wonder what the new one would look like in 2021. We don't even have a site for that anymore. Everybody's looking for who's the next female rapper? Who's the next Lil Kim? Who's next Biggie Small? But you ain't thinking about who's the next Thurgood Marshall? Who's the next, who's the next, Amin Ra, whatever the hell, you know what I'm saying? All of our ancestry, we have so many spirits that keep traveling, and we spoke about the ancestors in the beginning of this conversation. So that life recycles itself, and we are protected while that cycle is going on. So that means those spirits are back here somewhere, and they're oppressed. All right, so we have to figure out how to lift the oppression up, improve us to where we can spot these entities out, and that way the flow of Blackness continues. That's our responsibility.
I think that I don't know, man. I believe in destiny, man. And I think that this interview have to be done. A lot of people need to listen to this, man. And eat this knowledge, man, because it is, man, it's deeper than what people think, man. I'm 100% agree with you. We are fighting about who's gonna be the next Biggie, the next Tupac, the best female artist, but man, we need to figure it out who is gonna be our next representative, our best next leaders, our next president.
Bro.
Things like that.
Hey, I read an article about young children in Atlanta who were like NASA scientist mind at 15, 16 years old, a young lady. Now, wouldn't it be proper to say that's a woman of the year rather than the top rapper because of some radio spins and, some talk about spilling champagne or wearing shoes or whatever it is? We got our priorities wrong. And this is media training our minds wrong. Okay?
Training our minds to be entertained.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you got a problem with the media, turn it off. And then now we got to say to ourselves, while it's off, let's create our own. And now we can create the woman of the year. Nobody's thinking that. We keep following the same thing and accepting what people give us. And that's how they treat us. That's like how animals, this animal, they like to come this way. I throw an apple in front of them, they eat it. And I just open the door and let them go out into the field. And then they come back late at night. And that's how they deal with you, 3/5 of man. So, the movement mentality is to say, I'm whole, man, and I'm not dependent on anything that you give me. Okay? I use my resources wisely while I'm on this turf because some of us were born here. Everybody wasn't in a ship coming from Africa. Okay? Some of us were already here. Some of you are where you live at. You were the indigenous people of that particular region.
That's true.
So it's time to dig that up and represent that as indigenous people of those grounds and say, hey, man, my ancestors been here a long time. I think it's overdue for me to have land and freedom and enough room for me to build with my kind without someone oppressing and separating me. That's just natural human rights. Other people are fighting for it and getting it. Okay? So where is ours? And we have to start saying to ourselves, I'm not asking for permission anymore. I'm going to go obtain it. I'm going to go. What's the criteria to buy land? Stacking money, stacking credit. Okay, I'm going to stack some money, get some credit, and I'm going to get my land. I'm not asking you, waiting for you. Hey, I'm black, and I was beat on the ships, and I was slave. Give me some money. That sounds stupid.
Like we talked earlier. Go and get yours. We need to go and get ours. We need to go and get ours.
Correct, my
wow,
lord.
this is like very powerful for me, man. This is a very nice conversation that we're having right now.
Yes, my brother.
Man, I was about to ask you like how much do you feel the internet was impact to the music business? But I want to make that questions like on a global way, not only music business, like on a state of mind of a person. What do you think about that?
Well, I had an interview about that the other day. I do a live show with Carrying the Culture, Brother Tomorrow, and and I threw it at him, and I said, let's build on the pros and cons of the internet, because everybody thought it was going to be like a whole new thing for artists when this thing happened. It was a disaster from the beginning, because
from the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning, as the rights weren't established. You know how that MP3 got on the market, and it absorbed everything. People were able to bootleg catalogs of music that they didn't have access to for nothing. So while it was in the gray, a lot of artists lost money. A lot of companies lost money. So instead, when MP3 broke up and became a technology rather than a company, and they sold it to others, then they start putting rights on it. Now, in the midst of that, artists weren't clear about, what's a fair deal for their works. They just started throwing, the music to the streams, the MySpaces and all these other things. They were just trying to get exposure, because now the world was connected because of internet. Now you can talk to your fan in Russia. Now you can talk to your fan in Brazil and, all over the world, where before you had to write a letter and pray that it would touch the fan base. All right. So that was a benefit that internet did. It gave us access to touch other people that were supporting us. But the way that they're getting our music, they can buy 2 records and then bootleg the whole catalog somewhere else off the computer. So it wasn't a loyalty between the artist and the fan base. The fan base should have said, yo, man, we're not bootlegging that. You know what I'm saying? I want a copy of this. Somebody should sign this artist that we like. They're doing extraordinary work. I want to see them on a platform and respect it. They don't know how to have a voice like that. Okay? Like when you get a people's champion and people say, I stand for them, that's a different kind of representative. That's how X-Clan was. We fought in the streets for our people. So anything that we did, if we say, yo, we tap dancers on the side, then they would have supported us being tap dancers. But the fact that we were standing up for the people, they were triply down with what's happening. And then the music matched that. So we were silently a people's champion group. Now, if that format existed with the internet, you imagine the hot spots that you create for yourself when people are loyal. Okay? I'm sure Rihanna's fans don't buy bootleg Rihanna. Okay? I'm sure Beyonce fans don't buy bootleg Beyonce. They go get the download or the package or whatever. So that's loyalty. Hip hop does not have that kind of loyalty. Okay? You might give it to Jay-Z, but Jay-Z protects his music. He protects it with Tidal. He protects it, with the company that he has. You want the original brand and copy. So I tell artists all the time, don't go go with that independent thing so far to where it F's you in the end. Okay? Because you could be so independent where you don't know when to make the right deal. You're living stock. Okay? So you got to know the right time to say, let me give 20% over here so I can get a wide range control, so I can get a headquarters. Because if you don't have a building, you may make a deal with someone that has a building where you can go do your internet stuff inside a real professional place. The more professional you look, the more your audience believes, like, yo, he must be big dog. He's at the Def Jam building doing the live show. Oh, snap, he got LL. He just came out from the hallway and sat with this dude, gave him 5. You know, all of the hype is what they believe. You got to make affiliation. The internet is worldwide networking. So you got to decide, like, yo, you can stand at home and travel through the world just by sitting in your chair in your house in your drawers. Who are you connecting? Are you just trying to get shorties online that like you and you look good in the light? Some DM numbers? Or are you truly trying to connect and say, yo, man, let's make a show happen. Let's make a production happen. I got 3 cameras. How many cameras do you have? Let's make a video. Nobody's, you know, very few people are doing that. This has now become more social value than social building. So that's why actually, I feel like, yes.
No. Sorry.
I was just saying that the internet spoils us. We have access to so much information that we lose ourselves. That's what I think the pros and cons are. It's good for networking, but it spoils us with so much information that we get distracted. Okay? And me being a Black person, I know my people, we get distracted on everything. It could be like, go this way, and then somebody say, hey, and then we turn it like this. You know, because we're trying to find, like, where's my come up at? I've been, you know, the power's been oppressed so long, and now the world is opening up. Where's my piece of the pie at? Is it NFT? Is it selling on iTunes? Is it this? Is it that? We so interested that we just all day click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, studying so long that we end up missing the boat. I think that's the pros and cons of that internet thing.
And in our, like, for the movements and things like that, a lot of it, I think that the internet, like the same way you say, have a lot of good things and bad things. But one of the things that I really hate from the internet is that the internet gave cowards an outlet to express.
Yes.
In the way that they make fake accounts, they go over there, make bad comments about this, bad comments about that, secret agendas, like to try to put the wrong news or the true out. Like, a lot of people need to take very serious the internet and do their research and trying to get the nice platforms with a reliable information these days. Like, for example, today it was sad that DMX passed away, but they were over the internet the whole week. DMX is dead. DMX is dead, but he wasn't dead yet, you know, and that is bad because he had nobody thought about his family, probably his kids, his friends, things like that.
Yeah, but this is the savage that we become. This is what I'm saying. The internet is making us savage, brother. We live in rap music is becoming martyr music. All right. If you notice, the highest sellers right now are people that are dying or dead. Okay. When the guy from the old block passed, King Von, he sold more records probably than when he was living. And cats don't even, know who the hell he was in some circles. If you're not a certain age and that's not your generation, you don't know who the hell this dude is. But yet he got millions of people following him, just came out for a year and a half, 2 years, or whatever case may be, and never thought about rap. You're straight gangster straight out of prison, who beat a 100-year bid or some shit. And now you a star. And then the next thing you know, you the next generation's Tupac all of a sudden. Okay? This is how fast data is moving. From the other kid who overdosed with the pills and then somebody else gets shot next week. And then, it's like martyr rap because now their catalog is sitting there and they're saying, oh man, for the dead homie, look, this is rushed too much. When we were spilling for the homies, this is an OG who's been with us for a long period of time. So now we worshiping all kind of people's hoods and we're not even understanding where we from, what's going on, and then what's the flavor that I want to transmit? Do I want my kid crying about someone that didn't care about life? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Real shit.
It is real. It is so real. Like that was. I don't, man. We are connected, man. That was my next question. I had it right here, man. My next question was why does our music in these modern days continue to promote lifestyles that perpetuate negative perceptions, resulting in an unfair treatment for employers and also police? Like,
yes, because it keeps us separate, brother. It keeps the power separate. Your question is intelligent because look, it keeps everything separate. If I don't get with the younger generations, my nephews, my son's generations, then there's a gap. And then if I hate the police, there's a gap. If I hate my government, there's a gap. So everything negative is to make me angry and overprotective. I don't agree with a lot of the movements that are online. The movement is not an online conversation. Okay, if you want to display information and news, then that's one thing. But you can't start no revolutionary situation from no internet, bro. That's not happening. There's a reason they say that revolution will not be televised. You can only do but so much. We were blessed as the clan to be a part of Black Watch, but the X-Clan was the music. The Black Watch wasn't music. Okay? The Black Watch was a movement, period, for young people to come and start to prepare themselves mentally for what the beast is about. So the music, people start coming and they thinking like, I want to walk with those guys I saw in the music video. No, you're not supposed to be coming here for that. You're supposed to be coming here for the movement.
To build for the community, build for yourself.
Correct. And when you're doing this music, you don't have enough time to keep developing the parts of the movement, the training, the this and that, because you're away from your headquarters. You're touring now. You're doing different things. So I say this to people that are trying to do all these, woke movements. I don't even know how the word woke got twisted up to become a joke now.
Yeah.
There used to be a thing where a person was conscious, they were woke, they weren't asleep. And now it's like some kind of cancel.
They made it like a trendy thing.
Yeah, that's why I say the movement has no place on the internet. Conscious thinking and language does not have a place in the internet because there's too much room for people just to boo from the gallows and twist it up and make it something else. Those are cowards. You understand what I'm saying? We can't wallow in the bed of things at the front line with people like that. That's not the front line. These are people that with their between fork in the road mentality, you don't know which way to go. As a movement, we know which way we're going. We heading toward freedom. Some people have freedom and play with it too much. I can't march with you because you don't have the same fire that I do. Y'all play with freedom like that, and that becomes a strange privilege that you have.
Wow.
I don't have the grace to play with anything as far as on the road to freedom. I don't have time for anybody marching with me that doesn't understand why we're marching in the first place. We don't have our own land. That's why we're marching. If we had our own grounds, we wouldn't have to go anywhere. So when we're in the city, we're marching and wandering around property and grounds that are not ours. If it was ours, then we just have to say, hey, we're having a town meeting today. And all of the people that feel their freedom has been disrespected, please show up. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Not walking around and picketing. I've been through that, bro. I've been through all of that. And my thing is the best way to do it is to get our own town hall, to get our own place where Black people gather. Hey, there's Chinatown. I'm sure when they have meetings, they don't have to call everybody in the city and say, hey, all Chinese people come to Chinatown or Little Italy or whatever else these other ethnicities set up. We don't have anywhere Black like that, bro. There's no Black town. Everybody who is of the Blackness and feels their freedom has been compromised. One of our brothers, George Floyd, was killed. I think we need to have a meeting. No phones, no computers, no nothing. Come as you are as a soldier. That's the only conversation that should be had. Period. But the fact that everything is so divided and they've bought our people out for infiltration so much, we can't have those meetings because you don't know who's who anymore. Okay,
And
we never knew who's who is, brother. Otherwise,
that is
Malcolm would still be alive.
Man, you just dropped that.
Otherwise, Martin Luther King would still be alive. Okay,
and that is the sad part. That is the saddest part right there. Because at the end, you will not know who's who. That happens with Dr. King, Malcolm X. Come on, man.
And that's why we can't rise. You can't have a nation with holes in it, bro. There's no time to filter out the foolishness. There's no more respect when somebody says, "Hey, this is a comrade. I'm representing him. You know, I'm backing him. He's good." No one has enough trust to go and claim a brother or sister and say, "Yo, they're good for the movement on my name." That's how it used to be. You couldn't just walk up and say, "Hey, I want to be here. What's up? Give me a afro pick and a gun and let's go." You had to be referred, man. That's such and such cousin, and he works with the elder, and he works with the elder, and he works with the cousin of the elder, and so on. You had to have some kind of connection to what's happening.
Kind of a clearance, almost.
Correct, my lord. None of these new movements have had clearance by our elders. So that should have been the first pause for anybody to say, well, should I join this? Or should I put the sticker on my car? Or whatever case may be. None of the elders approved of those moves. Because otherwise you would see them at the helm. Okay? You would see those elders at the helm. Look, bro, I couldn't do a movement and know that my elders still exist. And they say, hey, Brother Jay, come lead us to do whatever. I couldn't say, let me lead, because the elder's still living by protocol of life. Okay? I have to say, let this person who's been doing this 50 years versus my 30, let them take the helm, especially if they're mentally capable of doing that. Because just because you're old does not make you an elder. An elder is wise and old. You know, you got just some old people who don't have wisdom. Okay?
Yep, you have old people and elder people.
Correct.
Old people and elder people.
Correct.
That's why
people that you know you would go and say, I put my life in front of you in full trust that you give me the real breakdown. I want those people to say, yes, this movement is a good thing in 2021. Y'all come on in. And then I'll get the headbands, I'll get the stickers, I'll get all of that shit. But if that's not happening, I don't really tamper with it, brother.
Man,
you know
this
that
interview
in any high science. You know, say you could go Black Hebrew, go anything. If the eldership is not being respected, what the hell is going on then? All right. What are we, that living wisdom, that living intelligence and data, instead of me typing into the Google, is much more for me as a human being on the planet of Earth, bro. Okay.
That's true, though.
It's showing me if I'm in the same path of that elder to say, yo, I'm still fighting for freedom as well. Let's walk together. Okay.
Man, I'm telling you, Brother Jay, this interview, I think that the gods or LAW, whoever is involved in this interview is working like perfect. Because, man, and I've been telling you, man, no joke. My next question was, what is the best advice that you have been given that you will give to somebody? In this case with the elders, which was the best advice that you received from an elder that you might give that advice to us right now and to the younger generation that probably might be listening to this now?
Freedom or death, never give up. That's the wisest things I've ever heard from my elders. That means if you're not committed with your whole essence, with your soul, then what are you doing? And it should never be a point where you give up from having that kind of momentum in your life with that statement. You should never be giving up with that. You know what I'm saying? I remember my elder sister Viola. She would, always never give up, never give up. I can hear that echo in my mind everywhere I go. And freedom or death was always the chant of our circles when we moved on the streets. Because it's like, no matter what's going on, it's either I'm free or I'm dead.
Or dead.
There is no other option. You're not going to have me halfway. You're not going to shackle one hand and leave one free just for me to piss. I'm supposed to be free, period. You understand me? So that's the deepest thing that I've gotten from them that has kept my focus and kept my music the way it is. You never saw me go to the side and start coming out with something else and talking something else. I got plenty of music and albums, more albums than some of my core fan base knows. When they start getting back into us, they'll see that I left jewels for them. I'm never going to alter. I'm never going to give up on feeling that hip hop can serve a higher purpose than what we're using it for. We can dance and have a good time, but you can't party 24/7, bro. At some point, you have to turn it down and meditate and slow down and absorb a different angle of life and examine responsibility. All right? We can't party all the damn time. It got to be like, yo, we've been tripping. Last 15 years is just like out of control. People taking their ass off, their clothes off on Instagram. People wilding the hell out. Let me slow down for a minute. Some of these women are the representatives of our grace. If our queens are disgracing themselves, and our brothers too, clowning, fishing, going through all of these things, like they're in a brothel out here when they go to this internet. It's like, yo, wait a minute. We got to slow down. We don't even have grace anymore. Our people are not even known for grace and poise and royalty anymore. We look like coons out here. Something has to change because what we inherit now, all of our children inherit. Oh, you coon son, come on up here and shuck and jive for me. That's the attitude that they always will have with us if we display that, bro. That has to cease. As of yesterday,
it has. 2021, 2021, brother Jay. Yes. What is gonna come from brother Jay? What is your next project? Now that we're having this deep conversation, what are you thinking? Are you gonna recruit people to make conscious music, videos? Probably the way you portray yourself and the way you talk. Probably you can give like advice. I don't know, podcasts, things like that. What brother Jay has to offer in 2021 for the young generations that are coming probably to like help to embrace your blackness and develop that into our future. What are we gonna do for that, brother Jay?
I'm dropping my documentary, which I've been working on for some time, and it's very difficult to compress 30 years of activism and performing and things of that nature into some kind of film format. But I know that the jewels that I'm including in there will be what they're looking for. And it's not a selling point for me. It's the fact that I don't have to sit here and preach about what's right or wrong. If they look at our story, they'll know what's right for them. You know what I'm saying? They can pick energies and elements from our story and say, oh, snap, that was me. Or, oh, snap, I need to step my game up to this kind of format. They'll kind of see what we're doing. I'm not interested in doing the artist development side anymore because a lot of conscious artists have given up. All right? A lot of conscious artists have given up to a point where they feel like they're missing something in the party. Like, you say you want to be a messenger, but you really want to be Jay-Z, or you really want to be Kanye deep underneath your skin. The two don't mix. Okay? When I started rhyming with X-Clan, I had to give up trying to be as popular as Big Daddy Kane or as popular as LL Cool J because I'm not here for that. All right? What I'm looking for as far as a messenger is concerned, to say, yeah, make your money, but you're not out here to be a star. You're not out here to pop champagne and pour it on cats in the party and be on, MTV like you're a star. That's not what it's about. Your popularity builds a village. Your popularity sends 20 people to school. Your popularity does something different. And if you can't accept that from the gate, then I don't want to give the gift of what I have is production development. I don't want to give that to any individual that's not on that plane. Point blank. If you're less dedicated than what I'm representing, then why are we working together? This should be an AL-like thing. And that's not something I could do like, hey, American Idol, I'm looking for conscious artists. I can't do that because it's unfair to correct, my lord. That has to happen as natural. I wasn't found on those type of mediums. When I was running rap contests and stuff, those were different people who were looking at my talent to how to bottle it. Okay, when I got to the movement, they weren't trying to bottle me. Okay, they were training me somewhere else, and it was improving that style. Okay, if I go to sing, if I'm a conscious artist and I go to a talent platform and shuck and jive and say, do you like me? Do I get the ticket to Hollywood? Do I get whatever? You're not choosing me for the right elements. Mm-hmm. My manhood or and then in some cases womanhood for other artists, that should be the ticket of why the person could represent or not. You got a nice hard shell on you. You can handle press. When people come here with the trolling, you know not to lose your lid and start drama. You know how to handle it. Those things are important. And then when you rhyme, people are going to be like, wow, I've never seen them lose their cool. I wonder what they have to say. When they're interested in what you have to say, that's a record sale. Okay? That's a merchandise sale. That's a hit on your YouTube thing, say Super Cash or whatever it is. That's people going to donate to you, say, yo, man, you made me feel good today. You made me feel inspired. And you didn't have to preach in order to get that in your plate. That's hard to find. So as the years I was moving around, trying to see certain elements, even trying to attempt to make groups like that, I felt that they didn't want that. There's something in the back of their head like, I want to be a star. I don't want to work anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. It was a lot of lazy things behind that. That's why I say, yo, get a job, work somewhere. Okay? When cats like me were dependent on the game to live, when it fell under, it drugged us with it. That can drag your family. That can drag your friends. That can drag a lot of things around you. And you can be in denial and think like, that's true. I'll wake up and everything will be cool. Somebody will hit me with a check and we'll get all right again. That's a sickness. In order to break off of that, you got to say to yourself, if I was living in the middle of the woods, what would I do? I would build a house. I would do this. I would see what berries I can eat out here and survive. You would go into survival instinct. Rap game is not made to link with your survival instinct. Okay? It wasn't created for that. Okay? It's just 100%. So I stress that to people now. All this trying to be on YouTube, all they're going to try. No, YouTube doesn't say, hey, show me ass and titties and you'll get more likes. Facebook doesn't say that. Instagram doesn't say that. The people have decided that. Oh, you're not looking at
society dictated like that.
Correct, society, my lord. So we got to see how sick
the sad part is like you seeing all that time of that type of behaviors, and then at the same time, people who do that, they goes like, oh, they are using woman's body as a how you call it as an object, things like that. But that same woman that's saying that is the same one that on a bathing suit, almost naked, getting the likes. You know,
correct.
That it is crazy, man. It is crazy.
It's attention. It's attention, and as egotistical as rap is, you don't need to put the ego of rap on top of that kind of sickness in the mind to say, I need people to look at me. I need people to look at me. Look at you for what? What is happening here that's so significant that's going to change my day other than, oh, you're pretty, or you have nice features. And the same thing with the guys. What are you on here for? Are you inspiring, or are you just fishing for broads? You know, this is a marketing tool that you get for free that goes worldwide. We would have begged for this in the 90s, the mid-90s, even the early 2000s. You feel me? We would have begged because you wouldn't have needed the record label to tell you if you're popular or not. Okay? You could be like, hey, I talk to 200 of my Russian fans every day, and they want a show. Matter of fact, me and my manager are hooking up a plane flight right now. You better send some records out there to meet us. That's the kind of conversation that would have been happening. But now they tell cats, be independent, own your masters, and do whatever. But yet they're signed. Okay? How is someone that's already signed on the deal gonna come tell somebody else, don't sign, don't yeah. Like I made it to the Lakers. You keep playing in the ballpark. I know you're nicer than me, but you keep playing in the ballpark and just be independent. Sell T-shirts to the people who come to the park. You can't do that.
And one day you become like I am, sign it.
Yeah, exactly.
That is crazy, man. It is crazy.
That's crazy. This is a common sense thing right now, brother. You know what I'm saying? This is now where it's like, look, you're an adult. Most of the people of the hip hop generation that would know me on this interview, y'all are adults now. Okay? We missed the ball. When Russell Simmons moves up and starts doing yoga, one of us should have been sitting in that seat. Because we know what good music is for 2 generations. We sampled it, then we used it to make a market so we would know where the hell it's supposed to go. When we didn't take those seats, they hired someone that was not from that generation to come sit there and say, I don't want nothing to do with that old school shit at all. Okay? I want something that's new, no samples. I wanted a new dance style. I don't even want to dance like y'all anymore. I hear some of this music and say, how do you dance to this? That's the first question on as a DJ. I don't even know how you go and do a step, and then you got me dancing on the dance floor like I'm at a talent show doing hand. Do you love me?
Like you have like you having that seizure with arthritis or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's like being at a talent show and a college football game or something, man. The way that the music sounds and the way they cats are dancing right now. And I'm saying it don't promote that feel good. It don't make you want to get with a girl and come up and ease up nice on her and get into a step. We have fun music like that, bro. I don't see none of that. But truthfully, I see it sliding back because some of the producers from our era have been cheating behind the curtain doing this music for young cats. So now I see the fact that it's being such a complaint that young artists are rhyming more on break beats now. If you listen to a lot of the trap that's happening, it's starting to slide where it has break beat drums in it. And the skip is different, and it's becoming less repetitious in cadence. Cats are starting to rhyme now because their credibility is on the floor. You want to be talked about as one of the MCs that really couldn't rhyme and was successful, or you want to be respected like an Ice Cube or a KRS-One or such and such of your generation. So now they starting to think like, yo, I can rhyme too. But y'all just asked me to do that style because it was popular, but I can rhyme too. So you're starting to hear that now. So it's a very interesting time.
Now, before we go, now that you've said this name, you said KRS-One. Now I'm going to ask you something very, very like I have this in my mind for a long time, man. There is a song called "A Schoolboy Crush" by the Average White Band. This song was sampled by Special Ed with the song "Think About It," and Eric B. and Rakim with Microphone Fiend. And you use it with the grand verbalizer, "What time is it?" what make you
Yes, I did.
use that sample, even though that Eric and Rakim already has a classic with the microphone theme, and then Special Ed will execute that sample
Right.
also with Think About It, but you came up and you sample it as well, but you create another classic, which is Grand Verbalizer, What Time Is It? Why you decide to use that sample even though it's being used
Right.
twice?
Because Eric B. and Rakim and Special Ed didn't make that beat. You know, I dig in the crates too.
Okay.
You know, that's like telling the DJ, hey, don't play Aaliyah because one of the DJs tonight played it on the first set. All right. And you know good and well DJs are going to play the same record in their playlist. If it's popular, they'll trip across it. So what's different for the MCs? I'm a producer who can rhyme. So when I heard Microphone Fiend and all these things, I said, that's a good way to do that. But this is how I do it. All right. When Dr. Dre does that, nobody messes with him. All right. When he used that break, that Ultramagnetic used, and he blew it out and made California remix, whatever it is, nobody questioned him. So why are you questioning me as a producer? Okay. Those sounds are available. Now, if they sat there and banged it out and was doing the band thing or whatever case may be, and they made Schoolboy Crush, then I would have been sampling from them and saying, I want to pay you to do whatever. But they didn't make that beat. And I added elements that they didn't have. I added Fela Kuti. My rhyme pattern is different than theirs.
I was about to tell you that, like on that track, you put the Michael McLaren, the Buffalo Gals, the sound, man, and also some from the song Tears and Blood from Fela Kuti, the Africa 70, like
Yes, right. Yes, and that changed the whole tempo.
That's what I was about to ask you. Like you use it, but you flip it. Like it sounds so different. Like the three songs with the same sample, all of them sound different, and all of them are classic, which is hard to make. Like three songs, classics with the same sample, man. But each one has their own flavor. But in this one specifically, you was like African, very African. You know, man. What inspired you to make what inspired you to make the Grand Verbalizer?
You got to show your stuff, man. Differently. You know. You got to show your stuff differently, man. You can't let people tell you what to do. That's what they were telling me back then. Rakim used that, and I said, "Well, does Rakim own the beat?" No, he does not. So get out of my face. And I said, when the X Clan does something, it's different. And they didn't know us then because we were just coming out. But I said, you will know this of us. When we do a beat that someone else has used, it will be different. And I will be rocking it different. And what I speak about is different from any MC. And I was saying that at 17 years old, bro. Straight up and down.
That is crazy, man. I still remember May 15, 1990. I went to St. Goodies. I saved my lunch money, man. I get myself the X-Clan album and also America's Most Wanted the same day from Ice Cube, man. That is something like, for me, man, this is like the best birthday present that I will have. I will be 46 on Monday, and for me this is a great birthday present to have an interview and a chat with you, Brother Jay. I feel so humble, and I don't know.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you so much. I don't know how to express how happy am I. And before we go, Brother Jay, I want you to let everybody know where. Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
It's breaking up a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. I hear you good. Can you hear me now?
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. I couldn't hear you before. It was breaking up.
Okay. Before we go, Brother Jay, where the people who might be watching this can find everything related to Brother Jay, how they can get in contact, how they can get your catalog, and how they can be like aware of the next move that you're gonna be making, so they can be following you.
All right, so cool. So as I was saying earlier, X Clan Worldwide. I have on Instagram. I started a page specifically for our support base, and I shoot new videos just for them. I don't need them to buy anything or get into that kind of thing. We're basically finishing the documentary, and we want people to be in one place so we can let them know what we have on the table, so that way no media is blocking them from what we want to give them. This is truly going to be a very empowering film. So we've already started putting people together as far as fan base, and I cut videos and stuff specifically for them. I just did Culture United, the song I did with Damian Marley. They could find that on there. I wasn't able to film with Damian, but his vocals are on the track. And I just gave a nice salute to what that was. And then certain songs throughout our catalog. It's our 30th anniversary. So I just started filming things from our eras so they can just see our catalog visualized. This is a video era where we came from a record era. So I had to really take my catalog and kind of update right now and put videos behind it. So hopefully we'll be filming songs like Grand Verbalizer and Verbal Milk. Going through the catalog. And then when I have the merch store up, they can come and get some of the lost merchandise that's not available anymore. We have the prototypes and stuff for that now. So I'm really looking forward to some of the Black Watch shirts and X-Clan rare stuff that we have on there. And then music that I didn't release as well. So so they're going to have a lot of stuff to play with if they're truly behind what we're doing. They'll see the movement of music that we're talking about. I haven't given up on artists. I just put platforms up for them. If they're exceptional, I include them on those platforms, and that's me giving back to them instead of trying to be Simon Cowell and judge if they're ready or not. I just put them on the forum. If they made enough noise and they're consistent with their manhood and womanhood, then I include them on some of the programs that we have and produce for my company. So that's what's happening.
Man, very, very, very deep conversation that we have today. I enjoy myself, man. I learn a lot, and I hope people that are watching this learn a lot, and probably this at least change a little bit the state of mind of a lot of people that probably still incarcerated mentally. Probably this will open the gates and give you some more freedom of your thinking. Thank you so much, Brother Jay. This is Edwin Garcia, aka Arembo el Gordo. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next time.